others are fast-moving.
Unlike other big rallies,
Cockpit earlier at about 7 a.m. A group from the Coast Guard.
Welcome to #PHVote 2013.
Today on Rappler, the Philippine economy slows down in the first quarter of 2014. Digital files from Benhur Luy reveal even the driver of the man they call sexy got a bonus from Napoles. And the latest on the MH370. Australia rules out the search area in the Indian Ocean as a crash zone. Hello, I'm Chai Hoffelenia. Welcome to Rappler, your social news network. The Philippine economy slows down in the first quarter of 2014 as the impact of last year's natural disasters hit harder than expected. In the first quarter of 2014, growth slows down to 5.7% from 6.3% in the fourth quarter of 2013 and 7.7% in the first quarter of last year. Socioeconomic Planning Secretary Arsenio Balisacan says the slow growth is expected because of the disasters that affected the agriculture, trade, and tourism sectors. Last year, the Philippines grew 7.2%, the fastest in Asia after China. The country also won investor confidence with investor grade ratings and record highs in the stock market. But the Philippines suffered a series of natural disasters toward the end of last year. The worst was Typhoon Haiyan or Yolanda that devastated central Philippines. But Balisacan says the Philippines' growth remains the third fastest, next to China's 7.4% and Malaysia's 6.2%. He says he is confident the country can meet its growth target of 6.5 to 7.5% for the full year 2014. After the signing of a peace pact, investments in the Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, or ARMM, soar. For the first 5 months of the year, investments reach 1.62 billion pesos, more than the 1.46 billion peso total for the whole of 2013. Regional Board of Investments ARMM Chairman Ishak Mastura says investors view the signing of the peace deal as a, quote, removal of the major risk of flare-up of violent political conflict and insurgency in the region. The Philippine government and Muslim rebels signed a peace deal in March after 17 years of conflict. The ARMM expects investments to hit a record of at least 2 billion pesos this year. The Philippines and Canada signed a deal to double the number of flights between the two countries to boost investments and tourism. The Civil Aeronautics Board says the agreement will allow 14 flights a week. This is the fifth air pact finalized by the Philippines this year. The Aquino administration is pursuing air talks as part of its Pocket Open Skies policy. The policy will help the country meet its target of attracting 10 million tourists by 2016. Senator T.J. Gingona releases the digital files of pork barrel scam whistleblower Benhur Luy Thursday. Luy's files detail the daily transactions and activities of alleged mastermind Janet Napoles, from kickbacks to party invites to lavish birthday gifts down to Chinese rice cake purchases. The files also reveal Napoles did not just focus on high-level officials. To cover her tracks, she also allegedly paid off inspectors and auditors regularly. Even the driver of a lawmaker, codenamed Sexy, got a Christmas bonus. Luy earlier testified Sexy was a code name for one of the senators Napoles transacted with. Newspaper reports identified Senator Jinggoy Estrada as sexy because of his visible weight loss. 3 senators face plunder charges over the scam. Senators Bong Revilla, Juan Ponce Enrile, and Estrada. The case against the 3 is based on an audit report covering 2007 to 2009, but Luy's records show they had transactions with Napoles even before 2007. While the focus of the investigation has been on the pork barrel, Luy's files listed other types of funds like budgetary insertions and savings. Although not as frequent as the 3 opposition senators, the names of other officials appear in the files, such as former Agriculture Undersecretary Joc Bolante, Senate President Franklin Drilon, Senator Miriam Santiago, and former presidential son Mikey Arroyo. The camp of Janet Napoles admits a mistake in the list of lawmakers implicated in the corruption scandal. The list submitted to the Justice Department included Cebu 1st District Representative Gerald Gullas. Napoles' lawyer Bruce Rivera clarifies Napoles transacted with former Congressman Eduardo Gullas. The younger Gullas is a neophyte lawmaker who won his first congressional seat during the May 2013 elections. It's not the first time Napoles' list was tainted by supposed encoding errors. Shortly after the release of her initial list, Napoles asked that Senator J.V. Ejercito's name be removed because of an encoding mistake. The Ocenar family survived Super Typhoon Haiyan 6 months ago, but Maria Eliza Ocenar and her young children did not survive the fire that razed their tent in Tacloban City Wednesday. 7-year-old John Mark died hours after his mother and 5 siblings succumbed to their injuries from the fire, which burned around 85% of their bodies. Tacloban Mayor Alfredo Romualdez says the fire was likely triggered by a gas lamp, which spread quickly throughout the makeshift house made of fabric. Romualdez says around 800 families remain in tents after the typhoon, exposed to similar hazards. Romualdez blames red tape in government for the lack of budget to supply permanent shelters. The Philippines urges its nationals to flee Libya as it raises crisis alert level 3 in the strife-torn country. The Department of Foreign Affairs, or DFA, says the Philippine government will shoulder the repatriation cost. There are over 13,000 Filipinos in Libya. The DFA raises alert levels to voluntary repatriation, with Libya believed to be at the brink of civil war. Earlier this month, a dramatic spike in lawlessness in Libya's 2 largest cities stirred concern abroad and in oil markets. U.S. President Barack Obama says the United States is ready to respond to China's aggression toward its neighbors at sea, but says Washington should lead by example by ratifying a key treaty. He says the U.S. can try to resolve problems in the South China Sea without first ratifying the Law of the Sea Convention. Senators of the rival Republican Party refused to ratify the treaty, saying the UN Convention would override U.S. sovereignty. Obama delivers the remarks in a speech to U.S. military cadets at West Point Wednesday. In a wide-ranging speech on foreign policy, Obama emphasizes his vision of America's role in the world. He says those who suggest America is in decline are, quote, either misreading history or engaged in partisan politics. Obama says America should strike a middle ground between isolationism and overreach. He adds, U.S. military action cannot be the only or even primary component of our leadership in every instance. Just because we have the best hammer does not mean that every problem is a nail. The area of the Indian Ocean where transmissions believed to have come from the missing Malaysian plane is ruled out as a crash zone. After a lengthy underwater search for Malaysia Airlines flight MH370, the Australian-led Joint Agency Coordination Center, or JAC, says the area can now be, quote, discounted as the final resting place of MH370. In early April, a mini-sub scoured the ocean floor after ping-emitting beacons believed to have come from the plane's black box were detected. The plane vanished on March 8 with 239 people on board. The search effort enters a new phase, using equipment to scan the unmapped ocean bed to define a search zone of up to 60,000 square kilometers. For the 4th consecutive year, German Chancellor Angela Merkel tops Forbes magazine's list of the world's most powerful women. The magazine describes Merkel as one who, quote, broke through the ranks of Germany's male-dominated politics to become the first woman to serve as chancellor. Forbes has named Merkel the most powerful woman 9 times. The list released Wednesday includes U.S. Federal Reserve Chair Janet Yellen, philanthropist Melinda Gates, Brazilian President Dilma Rousseff, International Monetary Fund Christine Lagarde, and former U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. Let's now look at Rappler's Wrap for today, a list of the 10 most important events around the world you shouldn't miss. At number 3, Thailand's Information Technology Ministry blocks Facebook and plans to hold talks with other social networking sites to stop protests against the military government. As social media users react with alarm, the army went on national TV to deny it blocked Facebook. Some users are unconvinced and say it could be a trial run for a possible future blackout or a warning shot to coup critics. At number 8, Apple announces plans to buy high-end audio equipment maker Beats Music and Beats Electronics to the tune of $3 billion. It's Apple's largest acquisition ever. Bringing Beats into the Apple Fold will weave the iTunes radio service into more devices. The move is expected to help Apple ramp up its efforts to counter the successful models of streaming devices like Pandora, Spotify, and others. And at number 10, celebrated African-American author, poet, and civil rights activist Maya Angelou dies Wednesday evening, Manila time. She was 86. Angelou is best known for her autobiographies that focus on her childhood and her early adulthood, including I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings from 1969. In her last post on Twitter, Angelou wrote, "Listen to yourself, and in that quietude, you might hear the voice of God." For the full top 10, visit Rappler.com's The Wrap. For our social media post of the day, the world mourns the passing of Maya Angelou. Social media is abuzz with photos and quotes from the phenomenal woman. Some of those who paid tribute to Angelou are big stars like actress Emma Watson, singers Beyoncé and Rihanna, and talk show host Oprah. Every story on Rappler has a mood meter which gives you 8 emotions to choose from. Click on how you feel and your vote comes down to the mood navigator in the middle of the front page, which crowdsources the mood of the day. It also gives you the top 10 stories with the most clicks. Let's look at tonight's mood navigator. Okay, let's brighten up the screen a bit. It's a very colorful mood navigator that we have here now. Right here in the middle is a story written by, this is the biggest circle we have here. This is From Sleeping in Slums to a Scholarship in Germany. This is a story written by Natasha Gutierrez, which is a very inspiring story actually about a boy who initially was a child who was roaming the streets, but he managed to get an education for himself and got a scholarship in Germany. This story got 82% inspired, 12% happy, 2% annoyed, 1% sad, 1% afraid, and 1% angry. You wonder why people are angry when somebody is successful. Another interesting story on our mood navigator is right here on the left. Philippine growth slows to 5.7% in the first quarter. This was one of our top stories earlier. So this story got 54%, let's take a look, 54% afraid, 23% angry, 12% sad, 4% annoyed, 4% happy, 2% inspired, and 1% don't care. It's a very colorful mood navigator tonight. Here, the third greenish color is our story on the internet. Make internet a basic right in the Philippines, which got 82% happy, 6% annoyed, 7% angry, 2% inspired, 1% don't care, 1% amused, 1% sad. All in all, the mood sums up for today. The mood for today is inspired. Most people today are inspired. That's Rappler's Newscast for today, Thursday, May 29, 2014. Visit Rappler.com and watch our newscast Monday to Friday. Tell us how you feel on our mood meter and help us crowdsource the mood of the day. I'm Chai Hofilenia. As we say at Rappler, tomorrow begins today.